Oh.
Hello, do you hear me? Okay. Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Take a book if you need one. Welcome to Parsha Devarim. Actually, summertime, these classes, Sunday and Thursday, it gets a little difficult. And so the next 2 weeks, it's going to be a problem, the Thursday class. Next week, there's JLI, the convention, the JLI thing. So that's why we're not going to have next Thursday. And the following Thursday, I'm taking a trip to Kazakhstan. We're going to the Rebbe's father's yard site in Almaty. So the Chabad of Florida is getting together. All the shluchim are taking a trip to Almaty. So it's
safe.
Amen. It's going to be safe. So the next two Thursdays, we're not going to be. I'm not going to be able to do it. So well, summertime. Sometimes it's a little tough. Okay, it's a beautiful. This sikh is truly a beautiful sikh of the Rebbe. It's a little deep. I hope that I can explain it well. And if you have any questions, don't be shy to ask. Because this is a deep sikh of the Rebbe on this week's Parsha and on the blessings that Moshe Rabbeinu gives the Jewish people. It's a beautiful blessing that the Moshe Rabbeinu expressed himself in this week's Parsha. Let's start off the sikha. Let's start off on page your book. It's on page 35, and we're starting in Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse number 10. Verse number 10 and 11. Here, Moshe Rabbeinu is, we know that the Devarim, Deuteronomy, is called Mishnah Torah, repetition of the Torah. It's Moshe Rabbeinu's speech that he gives to the Jewish nation for close to 36 days. He starts with a speech on the Chodesh Shvat, and on the month of Adar, the 7th Adar, he passes away. So it's, in essence, his last will and testimony that he gives the Jewish nation, and he gives them a long drasha, as they say, and he goes through the history of the Jewish nation. He goes through from the time of going out of Mitzrayim, 40 years of their journey in the desert, their ups and their downs, their good days and their bad days. So here, Moshe Rabbeinu expresses himself in chapter 1, verse number 10. He says, Hashem Elokeichem, God your God, Hir be'eschem. He made you prolific. He made you, he multiplied you. And you're today as numerous as the abundant stars in heaven. And he continues, verse number 11. Hashem Elokei Aviseichem. May God, the Lord of your ancestors, Yosef Aleichem, increase your blessings. Kachem Elef Pa'amin, 1,000-fold. May you be blessed 1,000 times. Yivarech eschem, and may he bless you, kasher diber lachem, as he spoke regarding you. So, right away, Rashi, we're going to learn a Rashi, right away, Rashi, and the Mefarshim, the sages, the writers of the Torah, the commentary, ask a question. What is the meaning of the two expressions in the verse? The verse says, I bless you 1,000 times. And then it says, may he bless you like he blessed you already. Like, may you be blessed regarding you, like as God spoke about you. Expressions in this verse. Yeah, what are the two expressions? What is the meaning that Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing and God's blessing? Really, the question is, if you have God's blessing, why do you need Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing? And if you, what was God's blessing? What was Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing? So look at Rashi. Rashi in text number 1b, page 36, brings down the Rashi. Why did Moshe, after offering his own blessing, add, and may he bless you as he spoke regarding you? So Rashi gives you the rest of the story. Moshe Rabbeinu blessed them with 1,000-fold increase. There was a guy sitting in the room. He said, excuse me. Right? He said, Moshe Rabbeinu was giving his drasha. And the guy said, wait a second. The Jew said, what do you mean? What are you talking about? He said, the Jew objected. He said, we're not interested in a blessing, 1,000. Why not 2,000? Why not 10,000? Right? 100,000. So why do you limit our blessings? Or 1,000-fold? What is this number? It's not good. God already promised Abraham, a man is able to count, can a man able to count the earth, so will your seeds be counted. God already said to Abraham that you're going to be unlimited. Your offsprings will be as numerous as the dust, as the sand of the sea. Can you count the sand of the sea? Can you count the stars in the heaven? Right? Will be numerous. So Moshe Rabbeinu says 1,000. What are you kidding me? Why do we? The Eibushter blessed us already. Why you're limiting God's blessing? See, you see, Moshe Rabbeinu had a rough group. So why you limiting God's blessing? So that's when Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, you're right. He replied, the 1,000 blessing is for me. I'm giving you 1,000 times. Chai. I'm giving you 1,000. God was, and the Eibushter will bless you. And so that's how Rashi explains the meaning of the verse. Moshe Rabbeinu says his blessing, and he says, and may God bless you his blessing. You have Shugazun. Question that. So Rashi, beautiful Rashi, but really, what is the meaning of Rashi? It doesn't make sense, Rashi. If the Eibushter blessed somebody infinitely, so what is Moshe Rabbeinu's? But I give you 1,000. What is 1,000 to infinity? So why do you need Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing? So who needs Moshe Rabbeinu's? The second the Jew said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "You're right. Forget about my blessing. My blessing is not important because I only gave you 1,000. God gives you infinity." So that's still a question. Rashi doesn't make sense. What is the meaning? How does Rashi, the commentator, explain it, right? So what is Moshe Rabbeinu adding? If so, what is Moshe Rabbeinu adding? How does Rashi? It doesn't seem, and that's what Rashi says. Rashi does not continue and ask this question that I just asked. So seemingly, from the Rashi is happy and satisfied with his answer. You have to understand Rashi's answer. Really, you have to understand what is the Rashi's commentary. So to understand this, actually, this is not the first time that we have this expression. That brings down in Hosea. We have in text number 2a on page 37, we have also this expression, an expression, these two concepts. It says, and the number of the children of Israel will be, Hosea, the prophet, says, I prophesy that the number of the children of Israel will be as the sand of the sea, which can be neither measured nor counted. Now, again, the second Hosea said that prophecy, or it's written in the Tanakh. You have automatic commentators on this. The Gemara asks the question: how do you have the two expressions? That there's a number, there's no number. Is there a number? Is no number? What is Hosea saying? Is there a number? There's no number. He starts off there is a number, and he ends off there's no number. So he should have said there's no number. He shouldn't have said that. He should have said the Jewish people will be like the sand of the sea. End of the story. He doesn't say that. He says, Vahoya Mispah, he starts off that there will be a number, and then he says there's no number. The Gemara asked the question, what is the meaning of Hosea? And the Gemara answers a simple answer, text number 2b. Lo Kasha, the Gemara says it's not a question. When the Jewish people will fulfill God's will, they'll be unlimited. When they don't fulfill God's will, there'll be a limitation. That's the way the Gemara answered the question on Hosea. Self-understood that you cannot bring it. Rashi does not say that. Rashi does not give the Gemara's. Really, Rashi should have given the Gemara's answer. Rashi, if you want to put it together with us, and some actually Mefarshim say that is the answer to the question in the Chumash too. That what's Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'll give you 1,000, and and God gives you unlimited. So there's some who answer the same way. Moshe Rabbeinu divides the verse. If the Jewish people are going to be meritorious, they'll be holy, they'll be good, God, you'll have God's blessing. And if not, you'll have at least my blessing. So first of all, Rashi does not say that. The Rebbe says Rashi does not say that. Rashi says, doesn't give that answer of the Gemara, because Rashi knew the Gemara, and Rashi could have given the answer of the Gemara in the same way, but Rashi does not. Rashi says that there was this argument with Moshe and the Jews. He started giving 1,000. They said unlimited. He said both. So seemingly that according to Rashi, no, the Moshe Rabbeinu says, I want to give you both blessings. I'm giving you my blessing and I'm giving you God's blessing. And the question is, how do you put the two together? The question really, if you're going to put this, not really the question that Rebbe says, that in essence, Moshe, if you put the Gemara and Rashi over here, in essence, Moshe Rabbeinu says, you know what, if you're not good people, you're sinners, I'll still give you blessings. Right? That's almost like telling, that's almost like saying, you sin anyway, what's the difference? I'll give you my, but God gives you a blessing, you don't sin. If you do sin, I give you a blessing, which is difficult. It sounds a little funny, would sound a little funny in the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm going to bless you 1,000 times, even if you sin. So therefore, the Rebbe is not happy with that answer, and the Rebbe comes and gives a whole different interpretation to this Rashi, to this beautiful Rashi. Yeah, you with me, everybody over here on Zoom? Well, we're going to get a little bit, now we're going to get a little bit Kabbalistic. Okay, guys? You see the cloud overhead? That means I'm getting nervous. We mentioned today in Tanya. We mentioned in Tanya. If you learned Tanya today, you learned a very important principle of Chassidus, and that is Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. There are three things. Olam is space, Shana is time, and Nefesh is soul. The Eibishter created Olam, a concept of space, and a concept of time. He created the concept of time and space, but the Eibishter created time and space, okay? God is the one who created. It's important to understand. It's not that the Eibishter, that time and space have their own, so to say, identity. Like the world, like in the world, the nature has its own. No, the Eibishter created time and space. Bereshis bara Elokim, the Eibishter created the concept of time and space. Before creation, there was no time or space. And therefore, in the Torah itself, we see that we call God, right? When we go to a mourner, we say, may space, really means may space. May space. May space, bless, may space comfort you. Doesn't mean may space comfort you. It means may God comfort you. You see it in the Seder Pesach. Baruch HaMakayim, Baruch HaMakayim. We call God space. Now, why do we call God space? Because God is the creator of space. Really, God knows the meaning of space. When we say to a mourner, may God comfort you, we call God space, Hamakayim, is because what is lost over here? Space. We're missing the physical body, which is a space, take space. Tangible space. No, space. The space of the world. So again, if you learn the Tanya today, Hamakayim, Olam is space. So Olam, the world, space. Olam, space. Shana is years, is time. Nefesh is soul. These three things is what God created, and everything, Kabbalah, Chassidus, everything is interconnected into these three things. Space, everything. You have expression in the Mishnah. There's no entity in the world that doesn't have its space, and there's no thing in the world that doesn't have its time. Everything in the world is connected to space and to time, and ultimately to nefesh, to soul. which is the, as you'll soon see, the inner dimension of space and time. Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. Yeah, you with me? Shana. Shana is year, time. Nefesh is soul. Olam, Shana, Nefesh. So let's look at the words over here. Let's look at the sikha. Okay, we're gonna go into this thing. Ready? Because I want to go back to text number 2b. This is important. In the Gemara, look at the Hebrew. See, that's really what the underlining over here is. So in the Gemara, they call God also over there Makim. Get those two words. The will of the space. Simple translation. The Gemara says, when the Jews do the will of space, there's when Jews do the will of space, was the will of God. Yeah. And then when a Jew doesn't do the will of space. That's the way the Gemara also uses that word, right? The Talmud uses. The Talmud also calls in this expression. We see, when they do the will of God, but the Talmud expresses itself again in makim, in space. They do the will of space. That means, in essence, there is will and there's space. The will of space. Good question. Good question. We'll get to it. Very good question. Very good question. Okay. Let's learn. Let's see this. So the Rebbe says in text number 3, again, you got to keep your heads on over here. God. Okay, God is called Makim. God is called space, right, in the Torah and the Talmud. We just express the Talmud, because he is the space of the world. Because the Eibishter is the space. The Eibishter is, it's not, you can't separate God from the world. The Eibishter is the space. He is the canvas. He is the space. Not that God, there's a canvas which God painted upon. He is the paint. He is the canvas. He is everything. He created this canvas, so he is the canvas. He is the world. Not like the Eibishter, there was a world and God put something in this world. No, he is the one who created the space. So he is space. Let us say the wording, somebody read that English word? Yeah, you're with me, people. The euphemism. Euphemism. Makim. What does the euphemism mean? Makim is associated with the physical world that is defined by space. It describes God as interface with this world by radiating a measure of light into the realm that is confined by the boundaries of space. So you have Makim, which is God, and you have the Ratzain, you have the will of God, which comes within space. Between Ratzain and Makim, what's the difference between the will of God and space? And space, physical space. Both of them are creation of God. And the difference, self-understood, is the vessel and the light. Everything is created with a vessel and a light, with a outer and an inner. You have the Makim, the outer reason or the outer concept of creation, and then you have the Ratzain, the inner concept of creation. Both creation of God, but one is in an outer and one is in an inner. For example, I go to the store to buy a suit, whatever, $800 suit, all right? I'm not going to the store to spend $800. going to buy the suit. I'm not only going to the store to buy the suit. You can go deeper and deeper. I'm not going to buy the suit to push it. I need this suit. I'm buying the suit because trying to impress my wife. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to impress my boss. I'm trying to impress others. This an inner, right? To spend $800. Go to the store either today.
$199. You're spending too much.
In some I picked $800 because you can say $199. That's the point. The point is, but the point is that there's an outer, there's an inner in life, in anything in life. Nobody wants to go to work because we need a home. Nobody. What do you need a home for? Because you want to have a family. What do you need a family for? Because you want. I hope that's not a good question. Because you want to have unity. You want to have an inner space. You want to have beauty. There's an outer and an inner. The truth is, in Chassidus, you can have an outer can become an inner can become an outer. There's what's the vessel and what's the mokin, what's the space, and what's the rotzen. So that's the tzayna shel adam. That's why in Chassidus, rotzen has no really. Rotzen will can fit any space. To tell what was the tzayna shel HaKadosh. We say that the Eibush, the rotzen and mokin you have by God. Tzayna, you have His will and you have His space. What is the true will of the HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Do we know the true will of God? I might know my true will. What's the will of God? So that's why we have to go to the Torah. The Torah says, I wouldn't be able to know what's the will of God if the Torah didn't tell me what was the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Torah says the will of God is the Torah. Is limit Torah, is the Torah. That's really the will of God. That's the whole purpose why God created the will. So that's why you look in text number 3. God is called Makim because He is a space of the will. That is to say, I said this already. Right? So text number 4, for the Torah that describes as the beginning of His path, the Shvila Torah, the Eibush says, I created the world. The Ratzon is because of the Torah, for the Torah, that it describes the beginning of His path. And for the Jew, who are called the beginning of his crop. This is the first Rashi in Chumash. Bereishis bara lekim b'shvila Torah, for the sake of the Torah and for the sake of the Jew that is going to keep the Torah. That is the Ratzon shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a very simple. So the tzayna shel makom, the will of God in space, is the concept of Torah and the concept of the Jew that's going to keep the Torah. That is the tzayna shel makom. That's a simple answer. That is, we understand that is the will of God. Now, when you say, so how much oil is needed in this vessel? Well, God is infinite. Is there a limit to God's blessings in this world? Is there a limit to God's ratzon in this world? No, it's an unlimited concept. The vessel might be a limited concept. Olam is created, space has its limitation, but the ratzon, the will of the Eibishter in this vessel is unlimited. Anybody say, oh, there is a limit to God's will in this world. There's a limit to God's goodness in this world. There's a limit to God's holiness. No, the ratzon is unlimited. So even though the Eibishter, in one hand, created a vessel that is limited, is limited. This world is limited. It has its space, it has its time, whatever. But the Eibishter's ratzon for this vessel, the Eibishter's ratzon for the purpose of it is unlimited. The ratzon, the will the desire is unlimited. And we'll explain what that means in a practical sense, because this sounds a little impractical. How do you have the ratzon that's unlimited in a vessel that's limited? And what does it mean in a practical sense? But first, understand this concept. Like I said, it's a deep concept of Chassidus, Olam Shalom and Nefesh, which brings about the whole purpose in creation and in my personal journey in life. These two concepts of having ratzon, and that's why again, Yotzein Shalmakim. It's important to that we should do the will of God. We should do the will of God. We should do the will of God. And how do we express God over here? Makim. We should do the will of God in space, in this world, meaning in this world. Doing the will of space, doing the true will. So that's why it makes sense. Doing the will of space, not just doing space. Not just doing the physical actions of space, but doing the true will of space. Accomplishing the true, I use the word will, but you can say the purpose, light, any word you want to use. The Gemara uses the word ratzon, so that's why I'm using the word ratzon, the true will of space, meaning the true will of God in the concept of space.
Oneness.
No,
I'll give you a simple scientific.
Why don't we just go to the Sikha? We'll see what the Rebbe says, and then we'll give you a scientific example.
Give you the science.
So let's go. The Rebbe. Listen, this is a deep thing, and the Rebbe wants to that a person should bring it down to practical. What is the meaning of this two dimensions, and the way it comes into and the way it's expressed in the table? So the Rebbe says, look in text number 6. And this is a statement of the previous Lubavitch Rebbe. In the Sefer HaMemorim. The commandments are God's inner desire. You have to look at a command as God inner desire. That's a ratzon. In Chassidus, if you want to express the difference between wisdom and ratzon, is Torah is the wisdom of God. A mitzvah is the will of God. That's why it's a big difference. Torah needs to be understood. A mitzvah does not per se need to be understood. Good understanding. Maybe you should understand it, but it doesn't need to be understood. It needs to be done because it's God's will. And will is higher than wisdom in a human being. And so too in the concept of Chassidus and Kabbalah, wisdom is higher. The will of a person. You have two expressions. In the place where a person's will is, that's where he is. Or nothing stands in the way of the will of a person. Right? So the commandments of God is in a desire. As the saying says, it is delightful for me that I've spoken my desire and it was fulfilled. That's the real nachas ruach. The Eibush says, it's my desire is my nachas. I get nachas like anybody would get nachas. Like any human being would also get nachas, is that he asks something and it's accomplished. After he asks something, somebody says, why? Somebody is going to argue with his desire. No, I asked something and you trust me. Trust me. That's when a person fulfills somebody else's desire because you trust that person. He's not going to try to hurt you. He's not trying to damage you. He's trying to, whatever. He wants this relationship. The Eibush is so too. It's delightful for me that I've spoken to my desires and fulfilled. This is the inner desire, and that's an inner delight. When one accomplishes, and that's true delight. If you know somebody else's desires, and you fulfill that desire, You're accomplishing delight. You're accomplishing that's stronger than joy. Delight. It's a much more powerful thing. Tainug. In Hebrew, it's called tainug. Tainug hanefesh, the delight of the soul. I have a nachas we see that by Karbonis, that the Eibush says, I've asked you and you've done. I know it's a struggle. I know it's a difficult mitzvah. I know but you know what? That's my will. And you're doing what I've asked you done, and it gives me delight. Now, the same moment, every mitzvah in Torah is involved into space and time. What Kabbalah or Chassidus says is the delight and the tainig of the Eibishter, the delight and the desire of God is very, very specific. Every mitzvah has its time, and every mitzvah has its space. So here, God in Himself says, "I'm giving you something that they both by me they come together. By me, the concept of time and space and rotzen and will come together. Every mitzvah you do is connected time and space, and every mitzvah you do is you're accomplishing the true rotzen, the true desire of God." Now, that also reflects ultimately in the way we do a mitzvah. That ultimately reflects in the way we do a mitzvah. We can do a mitzvah in two ways also. We can do the exact same thing. We can follow the mitzvah to its dat, and we should follow the mitzvah to its halacha, to the way the Eibishter wants it in time and space. That means we do the mitzvah in the right time, and we do the mitzvah in the right way, and we do it as we're kil chasa to the law. And to the law means to the dot of the law. We make sure to cross every dot. And we make sure to do everything the way it should be done in time and space. And then we can do the ratzon of the mitzvah, which is our tainug in the mitzvah, our delight in the mitzvah, right? Which is above time and space. Which is higher than right? That concept of delight could be before I do the mitzvah. It can be while I'm doing the mitzvah. It can last months, and who knows how long after I've done the mitzvah. I wouldn't be able to accomplish both of these if I wouldn't do the mitzvah, right? I can't have tainug in a mitzvah that I'm not going to do. I need to have the tainug. I need to have the delight in the mitzvah. And I need to have the mitzvah. The mitzvah is actually going to go together, which is an interesting concept. The mitzvah, the tainug, the delight, or my passion, or my excitement, or my desire in this mitzvah, which is it doesn't say you shall put on tefillin with desire. It says you shall put on tefillin. You like it, you had a good day, you had a bad day, you're in a good mood, you're in a bad mood. It doesn't say the Torah you always have to do a mitzvah if you're in a good mood. You should do the mitzvah in a good mood. Even Hashem b'simcha, we should serve God with joy. But if you don't have joy, you have to do the mitzvah. You got to do the mitzvah. You got to do the mitzvah. God forbid I don't do a mitzvah. I didn't put on tefillin today. It's lost. Tomorrow is not going to fix today. I didn't give tzedakah today. It's lost. You can't give double tzedakah tomorrow for today. It's lost because you missed the time, and you can't bring back time. You can't bring back space. You just cannot do that. And therefore, it's very connected to time. The Rebbe says in text number 7a, there is a limited method in the worship of God. It is to perform commandments according to the strictures. Precisely 630 commandments, to which one may neither add or subtract. Similarly, each mitzvah conforms to a strict measure and limitation. Then you come to the knotzing, and that's in text number 7b. The only way to draw God's inner desire into the world of time and space is when you do a mitzvah with the same love that God has from the mitzvah. Right? That's why there's expression in Mishnah. May your will be His will. I say that it's saying Halavai that we can create a rotzen in a mitzvah like the Eibishter created a rotzen in the mitzvah. Like God has a great delight in the mitzvah. We should have a great delight in the mitzvah. And that is with love. When we feel, when we fulfill the simple thing that we say every day in our davening. I love the Eibishter b'chol levavcha. I love God with all my heart. Oh, lavshecha with all my soul. And everything that I have. Right? I love the Eibishter. I love the Eibishter with all my strength. It's not, I have no limits to my love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I have no limits to this mitzvah that I'm going to do right now. I'm doing this mitzvah b'chol levavcha with all my heart, b'chol nafshecha with all my soul, b'chol meidecha with everything that I have. Limited. That's not limited. There's no limit. I can tell you how much of a heart you should have for this mitzvah. Or even a person says, I give my whole heart to it. There's no limit to what your heart can give you. The Rebbe says, the example we see, when a person has a child, Baruch Hashem, he has an unlimited love to it. And then suddenly, he has a second child. Finds that he still has the capability of love, right? He doesn't say, oh, I'm giving all my love away. I don't have any more love. I give him my love. I'm finished. Have a good day. You're out. No, he finds that there is, and if he has 3 children, therefore, he finds that there's no limit to it. It's unlimited. Not a limit. Oh, he thought it would be 1 and that would be it. But he realizes that there's no limit. When it comes to Ava, how do you have a limit to Ava? There's no limit. There's no limit to this Ratzin. There's no limit to this, to the Ava that the Eibush has, and there's no limit to my Ava. Hey, so a person can say, I did the mitzvah. Now, can I do the mitzvah again? Many mitzvahs you can't do again. I put on tefillin today. I can't put on tefillin again. If I put on tefillin again, I make a bracha. I'm saying God's name in vain. So I did the mitzvah. It's a sad thing. Imagine that a person put on tefillin today and he had no desire in it, and then later he creates a desire. Now he wants to put on tefillin with a great desire. He can't do the mitzvah again.
Someone else put it.
Okay, but he cannot do the mitzvah. It's a sad thing. So that's why you should do. That's why the best thing would be if we can create an ava, a true love of a mitzvah, and then do the mitzvah. But then we'll be able to accomplish what we'll be able to accomplish the makkah, the space, the physical mitzvah, and at the same moment, bring about ratzon, bring about our own ratzon, our own ava, our own love to the mitzvah, which is unlimited, which would bring, as Chassidus says, would bring like the birds, the wings of a bird on a bird. Is a bird without wings? He's still a bird. But a bird with wings flies. And the ava and the yida, the av and the or that I bring to this mitzvah makes this mitzvah fly. It brings it to places that this mitzvah would never be able to reach without this ava, this love, and this awe that I'm doing, the yida, when I'm doing this mitzvah. That's why it's important. It says it's important to have both av and yida. It's like a bird with 1 wing is also not going to fly. So it needs to have both of its wings. It needs to have avas Hashem and yiras Hashem. The concept of love of God and awness of God. But that's a whole different subject. Okay? This is because the Rebbe says, every act that we do to try to stimulate a correspondent, because what we're trying to do is, we're trying to correspond to something from above. Our Ava, our love of God and our actions is trying to correspond an expression of above. This is the relationship. I am going to connect to God, and God's going to connect to me. And the way I connect to God is the way God's going to connect to me. Most will say, oh, God is not responding. Or where? Because you're boring, maybe. Coming to him sleeping, so he wake up. I know that was I'm boring. Whatever, nothing personal, right? Above must be consistent with the reaction to seek. We seek to stimulate. The way to draw down an unbounded desire that transcends all space is by loving God with an unbounded love, with all our might, by activating our endless passion to God. That's the way. And that's why we say the Shema twice a day, in the morning and afternoon, at night. We say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. I love God b'chol levavcha, with all my heart, b'chol nafshecha, with all my soul, b'chol meidecha. We haven't finished yet. The Rebbe continues, brings out a sicha. It's another statement of Frierdiker Rebbe. These are such beautiful statements of the Frierdiker Rebbe. You should learn Sefer Marv. If you want to learn a maimer, a Vedic maimer, a discourse in Avodah in service of God with the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he is beautiful maimer. So he writes in text number 8. It is impossible to reach God through study and understanding. Don't think that's the way you're going to reach God, because all understanding is limited, both by our logic and by ourselves. We don't let ourselves have unlimited wisdom. We constrain ourselves, and our logic constrains us. We are all programmed. Don't think that, Parsha, you're unprogrammed. You're programmed by your parents, by your teachers, by society, no, don't blame the rabbis. I'm telling you, unprogram yourself. Okay, open your mind to the world. Open your mind to. That's what the Gemara says. Ezu chacham alei mikol adam. Who's a wise man who learns from everybody? Don't limit yourself in wisdom, right? But we are programmed. Our mind is limited by ourselves. We limit our minds ourselves. Therefore, we cannot reach God by approaches that are rooted in logic substitution. That's our mistake. We think, and that's the mistake, that's the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara tells us, you know what? You have to understand God to serve God. You'll never serve the Eibishter, because you're only going to serve him, you're going to serve yourself. Because that's you're limited in intellect. You have to try your best. You shouldn't have intellect. And you should use that, but don't think that is the ends and the means of the service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The service of God is according to my intellect. Only through core desire of the heart that transcends all logic, understanding is possible for a human to contact God. And that's why the expression is God searches the heart of man. The Eibishter, that's why the Avodas HaTfilah is so important. Prayer is important. It's the hardest thing for us to do. We love to learn and we love to argue, but to come to daven, we all have a problem with it, because that's where we connect to the Eibishter in our davening, in the way we daven, in the way we pray, because that's the service of the heart, and that's unlimited. The mind is limited, the heart is unlimited. The Eibishter wants an unlimited, even in the limited, he wants an unlimited kind of a connection. He wants a heart connection. He doesn't want a contract. He doesn't want a business deal. Not English. I don't want to. People don't want to. Not a business deal. Not we got married because everything checks off on a piece of paper. I checked it was a ksuba. But that's not the reason why we got married. We got married because we love each other. We have a heart-to-heart relationship, hopefully. It transcends every kind of thing on the paper. What they say in general, a contract is with the paper it's written on. But it occurs when our very core stares with the desire to return to God. When we cry out from the depth of our heart, our cry reaches directly to God. Reflect upon the greatest distance of our inappropriate thoughts, words, and actions placed between ourselves and God, and grow exceedingly bitter and pained by it, we become aflame with an intense passion for the endless that is God. This is, because when it comes to davening and reaching out to God, when's the last time did you cry out to God? To a person, when's the last time personally you turned to the Abel and said, that's it, I give it in your hands. Even though we say it every night, we say these statements that I put my spirit, I put myself in your hands. When is the last time we taka? When is the last time we seriously said, I put myself in the hands of God? I'm done. I've tried everything, nothing's working. I'm giving trust to God. Hey, I'm saying, we have to realize that. We cannot just go, we don't go to God. Even Yaakov Avinu doesn't come to God and say, this is, you got to do this, I got to do this, and we make it a deal. No, he comes to God, he comes to Tachnunim, he comes to the Eibishter with Torah. He was a tzaddik, and he could have came to God with the reasons and expectations. He comes to God totally emotionally. Yeah, correct. Very good. Very good. Very good. That's beautiful. Whatever the other Jew spoke over here last Shabbos. So two Shabbos. Yeah, that's good. That's a good example. No, but we all should once in a while think about it and then turn to the Eibishter and express our true commitment and our true heart to heart, ourselves over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So now that we have everything, it does work. Now, when we explain this concept of will and a will, these two aspects, the concept of fulfilling God's will and not fulfilling God's will. That's now you understand what the Gemara says. There are times we don't fulfill God's makom. We do God's makom. We have the makom. We are in space. We might be doing the mitzvah, but we're not fulfilling the tzeilah shel makom. We're not fulfilling the ratzon of this place. We're living in this place. We are doing this mitzvah. We're not fulfilling the ratzon. When you're not fulfilling the ratzon, then there's no response. Then that's why there's no response, an unlimited response from above. Then we are fulfilling the ratzon of the space. We are bringing actually a passion, and we're fulfilling the real purpose of this mitzvah, which is our passion, our connection to God, which is unlimited. That's when you have God's abundance. That's when God says, I respond. So in essence, Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rebbe in essence is saying, Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to the Jews, and he's telling them he's not separating the blessings. He says the truth is they're one blessing. I give you my blessing to reach the best capacity that you can accomplish in this world. That's my blessing. My blessing is try to fulfill the best that you can accomplish in this world and try to fulfill the purpose of what this world needs to be done. And by doing that, you will receive God's blessing. By fulfilling the purpose of the world, which is a number 1,000, by fulfilling the purpose of the world, which is 1,000 blessings in this world, the Eibishter will fulfill the blessing of unlimited blessings in this world. That's why Rashi, the Rebbe says, doesn't go in the explanation of the Gemara, and times when you do will, when you're good or bad. No. It's when a Jew, we're both good. Both of them are good. The difference is one is completing, not only doing the vessel, but also doing the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, connecting the desire, his desire, the purpose of this mitzvah, which is my desire, my passion, and that brings about God's abundance blessings. Now the Rebbe gets a little Kabbalistic, and I'll try to do my best, okay? But we have to give you a little Kabbalah. 9a, in the Zayah, Rabbi the Yitzchak Yuri, actually the Arizal, sorry, the Arizal Yotze was yesterday or 2 days ago. That the Hebrew word Moshe shares the gematria of the numeric value. Moshe is 345. M Shin Hey is 345. Right? You know that. Shin is 300, Mem is 40, and Hey is 5. So 340. No, don't trust. 345. And the 7 names of God, the 7 names, right? Kel Shakai, Shin El Shaddai is 345. Lamed, Shin Dalad Yud is 345. Shin is 300, Aleph, right? Yud and Lamed is 40, Dal and Hey is 5. It's 345. So Moshe and Kel Shakai have the same numerical value. And he goes further. In addition, when the filler of the letter of divine name are spelled out, for example, the Aleph is Aleph Lamed Fei. The Lamed is spelled Lamed Mem Daled, etc. If you take the word Kel Shakai and you spell it out in its miluya means in its full, and you take each letter, Aleph, and you spell it Aleph Lamed Fei. Lamed is Lamed Mem Daled. Shin is Shin Yud Nun. Daled is Daled Lamed Daled. Yud is Yud Vav Daled, equals up to 1,000. That's the completion. 1,000. 1,000 is the limitation of the word. Now, that's not enough, because we know in the mezuzah it says Sha. In the mezuzah you have Shin Daled Yud, right? Shad. What's the name of God? Shin Daled Yud. It's an interesting name. I say Shakai because I don't want to say God's name. So, what is the meaning of that word? Kel Shakai is the way God comes into the world, because the meaning of Shakai is shed die. When the Abish said die, stop, space. Well, I see, look at the next text. The Gemara says 90. It is saying in Rav, when God first created the world, it continued to be expanded like 2 balls of a weaving wrapped until God rebuked it and said, die. Made it stand still. As the Parsha states, the pillars of the heavens trembled, and they are astonished in his rebuke. And similarly, what Ishlaka said, what is the meaning of the passage? I am Kel Shaddai. I am the one who told the world, die. Die. Enough. Die means enough. So that means the word Shakai, the word, that name of God is the concept of space in Kabbalah. That's the name of God that tells the world, gives the world space, that it stops. There's a limitation, so to say, to this world. That's the 1,000. That's the number 1,000. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu says, may God give you 1,000 times. Because that 1,000 is God's name, Kel Shakai, which is the maximum, so to say, in a world, in a physical space, the maximum that a person can reach up into the concept in a physical world. But what will be the response? Baruch Hashem, and the Eibishter will give you his blessing. By a human being accomplishing their utmost, the Eibishter with God will fulfill and accomplish the rest. Beautiful concept. Let's end this off, if we can. Text number 10, the Rebbe, go back to the Rebbe. The commandments were not contracted into their strict parameters. only because this is the only way to introduce God's unlimited desire into our world of finite parameters. The true reason that God's ultimate objective, his true desire, is not that we transcend our limitation and reach infinity, but that we blend finitude with infinitude, right? Because the truth is, most of us say, why can't we serve God? You say that in the Agada. Why do we need the mitzvahs? Why don't we serve God with our heart? And finished. Well, just imagine if we had no mitzvahs, so just pray a whole day. I think Jews would not, maybe they would say, goes into hate, right? Because we could serve God with our heart. Why do we need the mitzvahs? So wanted to, how do you bring about two concepts and one to be able to bring about a unity, not as a unity, but actually a weaving together of the finite and the infinite is only through a mitzvah. The mitzvah is the will of God, and at the same moment, it is a very finite entity. The mitzvah is my response in a very finite way, but I can connect my neshama to it. I can connect my heart to it. I connect my passion. We'll make it, which will also be infinite. So here, the Eibishter wanted the fusion of both of these entities together, but that we blend finitude with infinitude. That the finite number are immeasurably and unaccountable. And we infuse with our neshama, every mitzvah we infuse, our passion makes this mitzvah infinite, makes this mitzvah unlimited, because it's connected with the Ratzon of the Eibishter, connected with the will of God, which is infinite. And therefore, I have the capability to be able, and that's how Moshe Rabbeinu says, we have the capability to bring about two opposites, an emotion that is infinite, an intellect that is finite, bring them together in one package and create such a fusion together, a unity together, which is the purpose of creation of this world, the connection of the infinite with the finite. Let's look at Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz, who will try to express it in this way. She neither saw nor related to the spiritual significance of bringing. This is a story of a very famous story of David HaMelech and his wife. His wife, Michal. Michal was his wife, daughter of Shaul HaMelech, and the famous story that when they brought the ark into the Yerushalayim, David HaMelech was dancing in front of the ark. His queen was watching him and she rebuked him. And she said, "You're not acting like a king." Because she was a daughter of a king, right? So she told her husband, David HaMelech, "You're acting like a fool. And you're a king. And it's, you need to learn to be a king." So she neither saw nor related to a spiritual significance of bringing the Ark of the Covenant. She didn't see this concept. She knew that it's important celebration. And what bothered her on this occasion was the fact that David did not stop to consider how he was dancing, how he was behaving, how he appeared to others. For Michal, the fact of exposure was less important than the humiliation as she saw it, of cheapening himself before the masses, of descending to their level. She was injured by the fact that David did not treat his throne with respect. They had no sense of the majesty of kingship, of the being divinely chosen. He said, "You're a king. A king demands to act like a king." In any kind of situation, right? She was a daughter of nobility, in contrast to the man she actually regarded as, right? One may have taken up the reins of government, but not the grandeur of kingship. So she said, "You know what? David HaMelech, I know what it means to be a king. I'm a daughter of a king. This guy doesn't know what it means to be a king. He's embarrassing himself. He's embarrassing the kingship." What did David answer? David responded. David did her rebuke, and he responded. David, on his part, was no less sharp in his response to his wife, Michal. And his sharpness is illuminating. He juxtaposed these contrasting elements. comparing his election as king, not necessarily with Michal, but with what she represented, the house of Shaul, her father. David claimed that the choice of the Almighty had fallen rather on someone like him, a man who has expressed genuine feelings, real emotions, quality of passion, the ability to experience misfortune without breaking, the ability to withstand hardships and still to rejoice, to express his joy and revel and reveal himself. That was David HaMelech. David HaMelech says, I can be a king, but I'm a king that has a heart. I can be a king, I know the rules and regulations, but now I'm expressing my true self. And I'm expressing myself before God. And when I express myself before God, there's no difference between a king and a regular person. And that's Saul, right? Umar was David's son. Shaul, King Saul. So she was right in the rules, in the book, she was right. She was right. You want to go to the book, you want to follow the rules of the book. She's always right. You're a king. A king needs to control his emotions. And David HaMelech said, yeah, but I'm before God. I can't. I know. I want to show my emotion before the Eibishter. I want to be like a regular person. I want to be like a regular Jew. I want to show my emotion because I am an emotional person, and therefore David HaMelech showed his emotions, and that's the beauty. That's the concept of true aspect of prayer. When it comes to that's true beauty of davening. When it comes to learning, there's got to be the teacher, there's got to be the student. When it comes to davening, we're all students. We're all standing before God. You're not standing before a rabbi. You're not standing before a chazan. You're standing before the Eibishter. And we're all standing, the rabbi, the chazan, and everybody is all standing before HaKadosh Baruch. Only in this way is God's quintessential power, which transcends finitude and infinitude, expressed. Finitude and infinitude are opposites, and only God, who transcends both of them, and from whom both merge, can merge them. And that's, in essence, what he told her. He said, you're right. When I'm standing before regular people, I need to act like a king, and they need to treat me like a king, right? And there's laws of the way you treat a king. There's protocol, there's rules and regulations. But right now, we're standing before God. And before God, we are equal. The king and the people and the king all become one entity. We all become connected. We all understand the emotions that we're supposed to have. The Rebbe ends off this sikha. That's the last text, is text number 13. And so much as the ultimate goal is not just the solution of finitude, but it's sensitive. It's unity, right? It's inwovenness. It's one with the infinite. That's what the Eibishter wanted. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing is. Moshe's blessing does not become extinct when God grants us his unbounding blessing. Moshe Rabbeinu, so that's why Rashi, this is the beauty of the Rebbe learned Rashi. That's why Rashi specifically says that Moshe Rabbeinu stands. Moshe Rabbeinu, the guy tells Moshe Rabbeinu, but God gave us an infinite blessing. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, you're right. Taking away God's blessing. I'm telling you how to accomplish God's blessing in this world. How to accomplish God's infinite blessing in this world is by you accomplishing your infinite blessing, by you filling up the world with the ratzon of the Eibishter, the ratzon of God, you will accomplish God's infinite blessing. This is why we have both. First, we have Moshe's blessing. May God increase you 1,000-fold. With this blessing, God's measured creation reaches 1,000-fold, the outer bounds of maximum capacity. Then God's unbounding blessing folds directly into Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing. This way, the finite world exceeds its natural capacity and achieves immeasurable abundance. What a beautiful sikha of the Rebbe. I hope.
That's my vow. Bingo vow.
That's not Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing. Well, my Moshe Rabbeinu's blessing, I give you a blessing, it should be 2,000 fold. So
Oh,
may God
Well,
bless
we have to
you.
go
Yeah,
walking
the
with
Father
Moshe.
and the everything.
it's
You
like
should,
a contest.
beautiful sikha of the Rebbe. I wish you all a wonderful, beautiful day. You should read this. If you have the book, you should read those sections of the Fidikim and the Rebbe. It's really, truly a beautiful way the Rebbe expressed it. I hope I did a good job. And as I said, we're not going to have a class on Thursday for the next 2 weeks. I apologize. Next week is the JLI convention at in Miami, in Doral. If you didn't sign up, you can still sign up. And the following week, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be by the Rebbe's father's burial site in Kazakhstan. I wish you all a wonderful and beautiful day.
Just proof we can